Happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Brainscratch. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here today. You know, we hear a lot of stories about gang violence and drug-related violence and how that seems to be taking younger and younger people away from us. But 6 years old and in a terrible manner, we're going to look into a case where that's exactly what has happened today. And it's actually not just that life, but two others that are taken as well. Before we get to that case, I just want to let you guys know about a special event that is happening in Minneapolis, and that is what is being called the 4-year Angelversary March for Elisa Gomez. Now, if you're a longtime fan of the channel, you probably know that I did coverage on Elisa Gomez's case a while ago. We also did a whole season of 3 Men and a Mystery where we went into Elisa's case. We had pretty much unprecedented access for anything that I've worked on before. We literally had body cam footage. We had interview tapes. I mean, we had it all for that season. It's a very troubling story. And what's most troubling about it is the broken hearts that are left behind, particularly with Elisa's family. So if you would like to support her family, they are going to be doing a walk from Cedar Inn, which, if you're familiar with the case, that's one of the locations where we actually had footage of the last night that Elisa was alive, to a memorial tree that has been planted for her. So if you would like to join that, that is going to be this Sunday, October 11th, I believe, at 12 p.m. Central Time. On to today's case. This case takes place in an area called Warren in Michigan. And I can tell you guys, after looking at a lot of social information around this case, I'm hearing that Warren, Michigan can be a bit of a tough place to live. Even the Wikipedia article seems to suggest that. Warren is a city in Macomb County in the U.S. state of Michigan. The 2010 census places the city's population at over 134,000 people, making Warren the largest city in Macomb County, the third largest city in Michigan, and Metro Detroit's largest suburb. If we scroll down here to some other information, between 1950 and 1960, Warren's population soared from over 42,000 to almost 90,000. The city's population doubled again, ultimately reaching a high of 179,000 in 1970. The subsequent decades have seen Warren's population decline, while violent crime has increased. Combined with collapsing housing prices, this has led Warren to a number 7 ranking in Forbes's most miserable cities to live in the U.S., joining 2 other Michigan cities, Detroit and Flint, in the top 10. I wasn't even aware that Forbes was making a list of most miserable cities. I don't know. I don't know if I was the editor-in-chief at Forbes, if I would be making lists of that nature. It kind of hits me a little bit weird, and maybe it's just because this whole case is hitting me weird. I mean, anytime I look into the death of a young person, it's already a tough thing. Talking about a 6-year-old boy, it's a whole different thing. But it doesn't actually start with the 6-year-old. This starts about a call in another part of town. Over at clickondetroit.com. Detroit police were called around 2:30 a.m. Thursday, that would be October 1st, to the 2100 block of Hyde Park Drive on the city's east side. Officials confirmed a body was found inside a burning car. The body was burned beyond recognition, authorities said. During the course of the investigation, officials identified the body, a Warren man. The Warren Police Department was asked to notify the man's family. Warren officers went to the home before 11 a.m. Thursday. There was no answer at the home. Warren police found the bodies of a woman and a boy inside, according to authorities. The suspect is still on the loose. Now, look, we're not even 2 weeks away from where this has happened yet. I can tell you that I typically don't even cover cases that are this close unless I'm really moved to by trying to help raise exposure, by trying to help get that search for justice kicked into a little bit of a higher gear. So that's why, quite honestly, when I saw this little boy smile, there's something that it triggered inside of me to try to help with this. So the little boy is found with a woman, we will come to learn that the woman is actually the girlfriend. I'm also hearing in some other places the fiance of the man that was found in the burning car. But let's continue with some more information from another article at clickondetroit.com. Investigators are still trying to figure out exactly what happened at the scene. There are multiple detectives involved. They've got the street roped off. Family members flocked to the scene. They're waiting for official word from investigators. Authorities are waiting for a search warrant to go inside the home. They're canvassing for witnesses or security footage that could give them a lead on a suspect. And for camera footage, we're probably not in terrible shape for this area. Yes, it is largely residential directly around the block where this is going on. But there are kind of scattered businesses. We see a welding supply store. We've got a builder's hardware store, a little bit kind of industrial in terms of the businesses that I'm seeing to the south, but to the north, a lot of all kinds of different businesses. So I'm hoping that authorities might be able to string together at least the movement of a vehicle, possibly tying a bunch of these cameras together. And of course, even in just residential neighborhoods, doorbell cameras. We've got doorbell camera possibilities as well. So it's one of those things where I'm not sure about the timing. Are they able to try to lock down the time frame on when this went down at the house? Because that would certainly help them in terms of trying to piece together all these different camera sources. But I'm seeing some good opportunity, at least on that investigative front. And this is Tai'raz Moore. This is one of the victims in the case that we're talking about today. He had only turned 6, I believe, in July of this year. Let's get into more details. Another article from Click on Detroit, and thank you, Click on Detroit, for being all over this case and covering it so well. 6-year-old Tai'raz Moore identified as shooting victim. Officials said Tai'raz Moore and his father's girlfriend were found dead Thursday morning at a home on Otis Avenue near 9 Mile and DeQuindra Roads in Warren. Warren Police Commissioner Bill Dwyer spoke about the case Friday, saying he wants federal officials to get involved. Dwyer confirmed Tai'raz was led down to the basement of the home with his father's girlfriend. Both were shot execution style. So if we have a case that isn't already terrible on the outset, to know that that's what happened, that the last moments of that boy's life are being led down to a basement and then being treated that way, it really breaks my heart. Detroit and Warren police have also brought in the FBI to help with the investigation. They believe more than one person is involved in this case. And of course, just let's go over the basics real quick. We're talking about 2 bodies found in a house at one location, another body found 11 to 12 miles away in a burning vehicle. It really, right on the outset, looks like either some level of gang or some level of drug involved violence. But even looking at it through that lens, to me, there's still this bizarre question about the movement of Tai'raz's father. And I don't know the order of events. Like, is the killing of Tai'raz's father and the burning of the car, does that happen before what happens at the house? Or is he at the house when that happens and then he's taken somewhere? That's kind of why I'm trying to get a handle on this. We're going to get a couple of little notes as we're going through the things here that we can maybe lean on to try to understand that a little bit better. But it's making me wonder, is there some reason that they needed to scare or intimidate Tai'raz's father into doing something specific that obviously wasn't at the house? They got him out in this vehicle, went somewhere else for this thing to be done, and then executed him as well. And of course, we've got law enforcement already saying they think that there's more than one person involved here. The execution-style killing of a 6-year-old boy is truly evil, unthinkable, and senseless, and shows no regard for life, Dwyer said. Only monsters or godless creatures would pull the trigger on a 6-year-old and execute a child. Tai'raz's grandmother said her grandson was a vibrant little boy who loved to tease and laugh. He will be dearly missed. Our hearts are broken and souls empty without him. Continuing over at fox2detroit.com, this is actually an image of Dwyer. When you murder a 6-year-old innocent baby, the person or persons responsible deserve the death penalty, Dwyer said Friday morning at a news conference. Police discovered the bodies of 6-year-old Tai'raz Moore and his father's 28-year-old girlfriend, Isis Rimzin, in the basement. Just hours earlier, they found the body of Tyrez's father, 31-year-old Tukoyo Moore, on the backseat of a burned-up rental car in Hyde Park Drive in Detroit. So here we're getting another little piece of information. He's in the backseat. One of the things that has really kind of thrown me in terms of looking into this is I saw an article, and I'm not even going to show it to you guys. I'm not even going to tell you where it is. There's some conjecture out there that Tukoyo, Tyrez's father, is somehow responsible for this, to the point of where there's an article that literally says the father did this and then went and ended his own life somewhere else. And I can tell you with all the reliable sources that I'm looking through here, that is certainly not the case. This article was quoting sources in other areas of their article that do line up with the facts that I'm looking at, but I don't know where they came up with this fact saying that he was the one that actually did that to his own son and his girlfriend and then went somewhere else. Here, we're hearing that he's in the back seat of a burned up rental car. So it's once again leaning more towards he could have possibly even been shot at the house, moved to the car, and then the car driven somewhere, or someone else is driving the car. Maybe someone's in the back seat with him, holding him at gunpoint. Admittedly, yes, it's possible he could have driven the car. Someone got in the back seat, ended his own life, and then set the car on fire. I don't know. I'm really having trouble with the logic of that. And outside of an article that I think completely got it wrong and just should not be trying to do true crime reporting because it's not what they're known for anyway, there's a lot of conjecture about Tyrez's father, and is he in some way responsible for this? Maybe because of something he was doing, like if he was dealing drugs or something along those lines. And I know your feelings get so heated up when you're looking at a case like this. And for a lot of us, we want to find the thing that we can kind of blame and we can point our finger at and say, yep, shouldn't have been there, shouldn't have done that. This person shouldn't have been doing that. I get it. But this is, for me, this is a different thing. This is an entire family got wiped out. And to try to pin blame on any one of them in particular for being a part of that, I don't know that it's really helpful to the investigation. And quite honestly, we don't even know what's going on here. This could have been a home invasion. This could have nothing to do with gang violence. This could have nothing to do with drug violence. Now, investigators are going to give us some information where they say, yeah, they seem to think that this is possibly drug related. But let me put this to you. What if there was some paraphernalia found at the house or somewhat associated to Tyrez's father, and it still had nothing to do with the murders? That's still a possibility. This could have been something else completely. But even outside of that, even if it is related to that, I mean, it's one of those things where, yes, you would like to hope that everyone is doing everything in their lives to keep each one of their family members as safe as possible, when in reality, that's just not the reality of what happens. We see it time and time again. And to point a finger, especially at a victim in something like this, is... I just, once again, I don't know how helpful it is. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But let's continue getting back to the actual facts of this case and how we can come to a better understanding of it. So we get a better description of what happened here when they got to the house. We found the door of that house in Otis open. Subsequently called Warren Police, and they did a well-being check, said Detroit Police Commander Eric Decker. So basically, it seems like they were out of jurisdiction, but they were going there to make the notification. Then they saw the door was open. That's why they had to call the local police. Local police came over and did the entry. The little boy had been shot twice in the head. Police sources say they have evidence of narcotics and packaging, but haven't elaborated more on what a motive might have been. Now, I don't know where this evidence is coming from. From what I understand, the vehicle that was found was a rental car. Could the narcotics and packaging have been in the rental car? I think that's a possibility. Could they have been in the home? Certainly that's also a possibility as well, but we're not getting a direct source saying when they entered the home, they found this, they found that. We know that that's where it was. Warren and Detroit police continue to search the home, analyze evidence, and interview possible witnesses, family, and friends. They're also going through a lot of surveillance video from Ring doorbells to try to find who is responsible. And like I was talking about before, there's other cameras in that area. If they get a beat from the Ring doorbells of, hey, there's a vehicle that goes speeding off, the previous night at midnight, that might give them the start of the link that they need to hit up those other cameras and to start putting a path together. Let's continue over at MLive.com. The Warren Police Department says it may ask for federal assistance in the case, so the death penalty can be sought in the case. So, of course, we heard Dwyer talking about the fact that he thinks the death penalty should apply here. We're talking about the death of a 6-year-old and 2 adults. The death penalty has been banned in all forms in Michigan since 1963 and was abolished in 1847 for all crimes except treason. However, if the case moves to a federal level, a death penalty sentence is possible. Now, what's it going to take to push this into federal level jurisdiction? Maybe if the narcotics investigation pans out, I believe those charges, depending on what we're talking about, like if it's, narcotics trafficking or something like that, could hit a federal level. But for where it's at right now, triple homicide, all taking place within the same state, we do have a body that's being moved, but it's not moved across state lines. I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of other conditions that are really going to raise it to that level, but we already know we've got the FBI working on this. So kind of along those lines of people trying to look at this, trying to maybe assign some blame to his father or something like that. I actually pulled a criminal history report for Tai'raz's father. And what I can tell you guys from looking at this is we've got, in the last decade, 2 infractions. One of them is a speeding ticket. The other is false information or report to law enforcement with intent to falsify or implicate another. Sounds like he might have given a bad name, like he was stopped by a cop or something and he said he was someone else. That's it for the last decade. Before that, we've got in November 2009 a weapons felony related to a firearm. Unfortunately, there's really no further detail available from this report. At that same time, they're saying description unavailable, so there might have been some kind of secondary charge with that. 2008, we've got another firearms felony. There's 2 different listings. We do have a guilty plea that actually happens on that one. In 2007, we've got a robbery and then some other unavailable description. But to be honest with you guys, I was expecting to see some other charges. I'm not seeing any drug-related charges here. And like I said, in the last 2 years, we've only got really 2 occurrences. Neither of them seem related to violence in any way, drug charges in any way, anything like that. No money trouble at all. No bankruptcies, no foreclosures, no liens, no legal judgments. So it's one of those things when, I'm not trying to curb the conversation around where the blame is, but I know for a fact the true blame in this lies in the hands of whoever was holding that gun, whoever pulled that trigger, or the group of people that decided to put that plan into motion. That's certainly where the blame is. The rest of it being related to Tai'raz's father, that's all highly debatable and, from my perspective, not helpful or really fruitful in the rest of this investigation. Over to WXYZ.com. This is a picture of Isis, the victim that was found with Tai'raz. And we get some details here. Isis Remsen's mom spoke to 7 Action News about her daughter. She said it is hard to make sense of this loss. Her daughter prayed every morning, listening to gospel music. Every time 28-year-old Isis Remsen drove her 8-year-old daughter, Rayla, to school, she played the gospel song, "He Saw the Best in Me" by Marvin Sapp. So unfortunately, we hear of another life forever altered by this occurrence as well. We've got Rayla now without her mother. When Rayla's grandmother fills in driving, her granddaughter says she needs that song. She says, "That is me and my mom's song every morning before I pray, before I get out of the car and go to school," said Dorlanda Farmer. I said, "Nana will put it on for you, Rayla." Farmer says that they have told Rayla someone killed her mom, but the sweet little girl has not accepted it and still tries to call her. Farmer understands. My harsh reality came when I went to the morgue and saw her body. She is not coming home. You have to face that fact, Farmer said. Farmer says she can't stop thinking about the last moments they all went through, especially the 6-year-old little boy who quickly won her heart with his sense of humor. He said, "Can I call you Nana?" I said, "Sure you can." This was our last conversation. He said, "Well, since you are my Nana, let me have that Coca-Cola right there." I said, "You can have anything in that pantry. All the goodies are for you," Farmer said. Farmer says she is grateful for help as she hopes for justice and answers from the killer or killers. What did you get out of this? How do you sleep with yourself at night? She wants those responsible to answer as she holds up a picture of her granddaughter. This baby right here will never see her mother again. Over at Click on Detroit, Durlanda Farmer gives us another little piece of information. Farmer said that when she viewed Remsen's remains, she learned shocking information about what was done to her daughter by the killers. She said that's information only the killers know, and she's holding on to it for now. So we've got something else that's going on with this as well. Pretty clear that the information we're getting about execution-style shootings is a significant part of this. But it appears that something else was done to ISIS as well. We don't really know any more detail than that. And I'm sure they're going to hold on to that to preserve the integrity of the investigation. And the ripple of people affected by this doesn't stop there. We've also got Tai'raz's biological mother of 6-year-old. You took my baby. You took my life. She hasn't slept and can barely speak. Brittany Thompson's 6-year-old son, Tai'raz Moore, was brutally killed, execution style. How you killed him was so disgusting. You have no conscience, she said. I pray that you weren't scared when it happened, she said. I hope he wasn't scared, and I want you to know I'm sorry that I wasn't there to protect you. And here is a picture of her with her family. As police aggressively try to hunt down the person or persons responsible, Tai'raz's family call the little boy, who just turned 6 in July, vibrant, outgoing, curious, and protective of his mom and 3 sisters, and very mature for his age. I was like, "Oh my goodness, you gave birth to a man," said Maury Thompson, his grandmother. He just took on that persona, like he was this little old soul. Tai'raz enjoyed school, had a favorite teacher, and also loved animals, singing, and dancing. And I'm telling you, that smile is just burned into my heart right now. Tai'raz's mother's last conversation with her little boy, his first loose tooth that he planned to lose the next day. His tomorrow never came, said Brittany. Quick note over here at oxygen.com from Dwyer and the investigation. Multiple suspects are currently being investigated, and Dwyer said he believes the attack was drug-related. He also said it's possible Tai'raz was killed because he'd have been able to identify the murderer or murderers if he'd been allowed to live. And of course, I think that's a very important question in all this too. I mean, we're kind of so in shock at the thought of someone doing that to a 6-year-old that it absolutely demands the answer to that question. Why? Why would you take this 6-year-old's life? And I think Dwyer's assumption there is probably a very strong one. Outside of that, I really can't imagine, unless it was a mechanism, once again, to terrorize his father into taking some type of action or doing some particular thing. But I don't know how effective that would be. I don't know. I think Dwyer is probably making a very good point. Maybe this is someone that came around the house often, that Tai'raz actually interacted with. Or maybe Tai'raz walked into the room when something was happening. Something along those lines. I think Dwyer is pretty much on the nose with this. Over at the oaklandpress.com, we have a rapper named Trick, also known as Christian Mathis here. And thankfully, he steps up to try to help this case as well. Detroit rapper and Eminem collaborator Trick, aka Christian Mathis, posted a video online on Instagram where he offers cash for tips. He said children are off limits. I've got $6,000 for whoever got the information leading to the arrest and conviction of the mother effer that killed that baby, he said in the video. The city of Warren has another $3,000 in reward money, and Crime Stoppers of Michigan is expected this week to announce additional cash incentives for tips leading to an arrest in the case. Takoyo Moore had been found hours earlier in the back seat of a burning car about 12 miles away. All three had been fatally shot in the back of their heads at close range, according to police. So once again, I'm just calling out this information for anyone that happens to bump into that other article that says that the father did this. Well, then he drove the car somewhere, shot himself in the back of the head, and then set the car on fire. I don't see that as a possibility here. I'm not finding anything, any quotes directly from the investigation or Dwyer saying that that's even a consideration in this case. Mary Sheffield, president of the Detroit City Council, is planning a vigil Friday. That's tonight. The vigil will be held at 6 p.m. Friday at Irma Henderson Park, 8800 East Jefferson Avenue in Detroit. And we have an article here from October 4th, literally only a few days after this terrible occurrence. Slain family's possessions moved out of Warren House. As funeral directors worked to plan farewell tributes to 3 people who were brutally killed execution style, supporters were busy moving furniture out of a Warren family's home where much of the violence took place. People could be seen Sunday afternoon taking furniture, clothing, and a basketball net out of the home. Brittany Thompson, the little boy's mother, posted numerous photos of Tai'raz on her Facebook page as she sought to remember the good times with her child. But she issued a message to people who may have information relating to the homicides and haven't come forward. One thing for sure, the streets talk, and y'all definitely don't like to go home and pillow talk and whoever knows something about my baby and won't speak up. In my eyes, you killed my 6-year-old son too, she wrote in a post on Sunday morning. And I can definitely understand her frustration. I can't understand the pain that she's going through, but I can understand her frustration in thinking that there's people that are hearing aspects of this story and they're not picking up that phone. And if you are a person that has some information that can help with this case, we've got all the contact details that you need in the description box below. You can even remain anonymous by using the Crime Stoppers line. And yes, that's a real thing. That's how it works. They have to keep it that way. Even if they offer a reward, you call Crime Stoppers. You don't have to tell them who you are. They give you a randomized number. When you hear the case has been closed or if there's an arrest, you call them back with that number. They verify that your tip's the one that helped them, and then you are eligible for that reward. That is all a real thing, and that's how it works. It has to work that way because it would literally undermine Crime Stoppers all across this nation if it didn't. Brittany Henry, I guess she's being referred to by a different last name here, said she is haunted by how her only son died and describes the aftermath, the tears, the funeral planning, the loss as a twilight zone. I would have found comfort if I would have died with my baby, she said. I keep replaying how my baby died in my head, and I keep thinking, what was he thinking? Was he scared? Was he looking for me or his dad at that moment? Because when you're a kid, you think your parents are super and can do anything. I had to identify my son's body yesterday, and I have this paper for funeral arrangements. And right now, I'm just trying to write his obituary. And it's like, how do you do this? This is not natural for a parent to bury a child. There is a GoFundMe that is being run. Here it is talking about the fact that the GoFundMe account will be used for Tyrese's burial expenses, but also, I think this is such a wonderful idea, a child-friendly memorial that the family is having at Sheen Park on October 16th for children in the community, Henry said. We will have cotton candy, face paintings, and people can speak about Tai'raz, she said. I think that's a wonderful way to honor him. Dwyer called the investigation a top priority for the Warren Police Department. No arrests have been made, but we're making progress, and I can confirm that the murder is drug-related, said Dwyer. This case has a #1 priority for us. He pleaded at a press conference last week for anyone who knows who committed the crimes to come forward anonymously. So we've got the investigators working hard. We have people stepping forward to help increase the reward funds, including someone else. Detroit pastor doubles rapper's $6,000 reward. We're living in a day where evil is becoming normal. And I can't say that I'm a man of God in a city where evil is normal and I ain't done nothing about it, said Pastor Welton Smith. I don't think you can hear this story and have a heart and the story itself not break it, he said. And I can certainly attest to what he's meaning by that. To donate to the reward fund, you may contact James A. Williams of Project Good Samaritan, the faith-based program of Crime Stoppers of Michigan, at 313-922-5000, extension 120, or there's an email address, james@michiganalliance.org. I don't know if they have a way to donate through the web or if there's a PayPal account or something like that. I've actually reached out to James. I haven't heard back yet. If there is, it's going to be in the description box below. So if you want to help increase the reward fund on this case, please do that. Please know that regardless of what method it is, if I have to send in a check, that's what I'm going to do. On behalf of myself and my amazing supporters on PayPal and Patreon, we are going to make a donation to increase that reward fund as well. And this is actually, I think, a first for this channel. We don't have just one fund that we're going to try to help here. We've got another. There is also a GoFundMe that is being run for ISIS, but it's being run in her daughter's name for Rayla. On October 1st, 2020, my daughter Isis was viciously murdered in a senseless crime. Isis was an amazing young woman with a bright future ahead of her. Her smile would light up a room and she was loved by all. Isis leaves behind a beautiful 8-year-old daughter. It is our goal to lay her to rest properly. We truly appreciate any support that you may be able to offer our family at this time. And we've got a few photos of Isis and her daughter here. We can see they're looking for $10,000. Honestly, with funeral expenses nowadays, I think that's more than fair. They're only at $2,180. So once again, on behalf of my amazing supporters, just as soon as I'm done filming today's episode, another donation is coming to this GoFundMe. And we're not done. This is the first time. I think this is the first time I've even hit 2, let alone 3. Tai'raz Moore. We can see they were looking for a $10,000 goal. Let me refresh this. They're at $31,562 right now. We're also going to make a donation to this fund as well. I want to make sure they can have as much cotton candy and face painting as they need for that memorial to be proper. The expenses they need for an amazing memorial for him as well. So this is certainly a first. We are making 3 donations, and I just want to take another moment to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel through PayPal and through Patreon, by sharing these videos, by liking these videos. All of that is helping me make donations like we're making today to these 3 separate points that are hopefully going to help not only honor but bring justice to this case. And of course, I can't do that without your amazing support. So I want to thank new patrons Jamie Ottinger and Ali. On top of that, Carol Gannon increased her pledge as well. Thank you guys so much. If you'd like to support the channel, please visit lordenarts.com, where you can sign up for PayPal, sign up for Patreon, or buy merchandise. All of that helps me do amazing things like we're doing in today's episode with these 3 donations, and I really appreciate that. So it sounds like it's drug related. Now it's just a matter of the pieces coming into place. I think that's going to take someone talking. I think that's going to take more tips being called in. I hope that this is an investigation that we see wrapped up within a number of days. I think that would be amazing. Unfortunately, wrapping up this investigation, filing charges, putting someone in jail, that's just all the start of an extremely of a lifetime journey for everyone that has a hole in their heart left by what happened to these 3 people. And I don't think you ever recover from that. I don't think you ever get over that. I think it's a matter of learning to find the moments where you can hold on to the light and the brightness that those people brought to you. And I hope that these family members and friends have the opportunity to do that at every turn on this very, very long journey that they're going to be on for the rest of their lives. Let's talk about this case in the comments below. As always, I ask we please remain respectful. This is a 6-year-old boy. he was already as grossly disrespected as could possibly be with how his life was ended. We don't need to add to any of that by saying anything that might hurt his family or his friends, or trying to theorize on, well, if his father wasn't into this or wasn't into that. It's not going to help this case. We got to focus on helping this case. Please share this video in Michigan, and keep an eye out for more articles, more stories, and more opportunities to repeat the name Tai'raz more. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Take care. I will see you on Monday with a brand new episode of Case Cracked right here on the Lord and Arts channel.